Hello and welcome to my Azure Quick Hits video series. Today we're going to move a virtual machine that uses managed disk into an availability set. From a high level, here are the key steps that are required. We're going to check this availability set, capture key variables, delete the legacy VM, build the new VM using PowerShell, and then we'll check the VM is running. And this is a list of the variables we're going to use to build the PowerShell scripts that will actually create this new machine. Okay, so a couple of quick gotchas. These are ones I ran into as I was going through the process and just trying things out. Not saying you'll run into them, but I felt they might be useful as experience is expensive. All right, so let's get started. Over here you can see I've got a resource group called Automated Start Stop VMs. But the key ones I'm interested in are really just the availability set, which is here, and the virtual machines here. So we're going to filter those just so we see those key pieces of information. If I click on AS1, which is the name of my availability set, I'm going to see that I've got 4 VMs in there, VM1, 5, and 7. Now, the one that I'm interested in moving into the availability set is VM2. If I click on VM2 and I click on the availability set, it's going to show here as, whoops, as there is no availability set. So this is the one we're going to migrate into the availability set AS1. First thing we're going to do is launch a new instance of Azure PowerShell. Once it loads, we're going to type in add Azure RM account, and I'm going to sign in. Once you've signed in, just double check that the subscription ID is the ID that you're working with in the portal. Now we're going to start getting our variables. So the first thing I want to do is say get Azure RM VM. And the reason we're doing this is just going to get us a list of the VMs that exist in this resource group, and or, sorry, in this subscription. And what I'm going to do here is actually copy the resource group name because we're going to use this a lot. And I'm going to create my first variable, which is string res grp. You can call it whatever you want, but I call it resource group. And there we go. We've now got our first variable. We can check we've got it right by typing in res group, and we'll see that it comes back with the automated start stop VM demo. And the next one I'm going to grab is location. Oh, spell that right. Equals. I can do the same thing. Here's my location here, West US. Control C. And I could just type this in, I guess. And again, just to make sure we got it right, there we go. Now it's going to get a bit more interesting. We're going to create a variable called virtual machine, just VM, and set that equal to the properties of Azure RM VM, the existing virtual machine, so we can reuse those resources. This is why we put in the res group thing, so we don't have to keep on typing that huge long name. And then the name of the VM is going to be VM2. If we want to look and see what those properties look like, we can type in string VM, and there we go. Now let's get the VM size. We could have just copied it from up here, right? But the better way to do it is actually to use the property we have here, hardware profile. So let's just see what it would look like if I type in string VM dot hardware profile dot VM size, just pressing enter here because it defaults to the top one, and press enter. We're going to see that that is the size. Remember the standard VS2 up here, standard DS2 V2 promo here. So let's just put this in a variable, and we'll call this one string VM size equals, and then just copy this, put it down here, press enter, and now if I type in string VM size, it's going to give me back the size of the machine that we're going to build. Now let's get the properties of the actual machine name. We know it's actually this VM2, right? But we want to grab it from the machine itself. And you can see why this would be useful, because if you decide to automate this for a number of different machines, you would want to use the variables, right? And grab the information from the actual JSON template that describes the machine versus typing all these in manually. So if we type in string VM name now, we should get back VM2. Perfect. All right, next we're going to capture the disk ID. So we're going to create a variable called disk ID, and we're going to capture it in a single step. We're not going to use the name in this case. So let's go to string VM dot storage profile dot OS disk dot manage disk dot ID. Okay, press enter. And now when we type string disk ID, we should see the unique identifier for that disk. Perfect. Now let's grab the NIC ID. So string NIC ID equals, and then we're going to type in our string VM dot network profile dot network interfaces dot ID. Press enter, and then we'll just double check it again. NIC ID, and we see the unique identifier for the network profile. All right, so the last one we're going to grab, the last identifier we need is for the availability set. And this presents an interesting challenge. I'm going to show you here that I've actually created inside the Azure portal, just do a filter here quickly. Availability set, there it is. 2 availability sets, so I added one, there's AS1 and AS2. And the reason this is important is because we know we want to put it in AS1, right? So if I type in my standard string ASID equals, and then get Azure RMAVIL ABILITY set dash resource group name string RESGRP close bracket dot ID, what's going to happen? There's 2 availability sets, so it's actually going to populate ASID with both. So let's press enter and then take a look at ASID, string ASID. And you can see it's actually grabbed the IDs for both. Now, if we just want it to have the one, what we're going to do is do the same command, except here we're going to put in square brackets 0. 0 means the first in the list, right? So in a list of 2 items, 0 and 1 are the first 2 items. And then we're going to type in ID. Press enter. And now if I type in string ASID, I'll see I've got the unique identifier for just AS1. So flicking back over the portal, now it's time to get rid of VM2. Right, this is the original non-availability set machine, and we're just going to click delete. So normally I would shut this down nicely and then delete it, but for this demo and because there's no actual production workload, I'm just deleting the machine cold. Okay, that took about a minute, and you can see here that we've successfully deleted the virtual machine VM2. So I just cleared the screen and typed in the key variables we're going to need for this next step. So that variable, let's just type this in here. That variable is called vmnew. Okay, press enter, and then we can type in string vmnew, and that'll show us the key information that's been stored so far in this variable, right? This is the JSON format information. So now we're going to attach the storage to that vmnew variable. And if I type vmnew again, you'll see it's added the storage profile. And now the last one we need to do is add the network profile. Now if I type in string vmnew, I'm going to see I've got the 5 key components required to build this machine. All right, let's clear the screen so we can watch this command come in. And then we're going to type in, press enter. So when you press enter, it can take up to 5 minutes before the machine is actually built. You'll notice here that I've got a little warning message saying that it's using the existing storage account. You can create your own diagnostics account and attach it if you want, but since this VM already existed, was running, I just left it. When it's finished, you're going to get is success status code is true, status code okay, and reason phrase okay. That means everything's going great. All right, let's go back to the portal, click on the automated start-stop VM demo, and we'll do a quick filter to just select virtual machines. Hey presto, there's VM2 again. Click on VM2, wait for the blade to open, click on availability set, and we're going to see AS1. And if we click on AS1, it'll open up the availability set blade, and that'll show us all the machines that are part of AS1. I'm going to put the commands up on the next screen. If you have any questions, leave them below. And if you have any suggestions of what you'd like to see next, again, let me know. Thanks very much.